Join us as we speak with a whole host of expert navigators through the land of parenting. They'll offer you stories, validation, and a few directions to help you find your way if you're feeling a little lost. Our children need so much support, and to support them in this way, we need a map for the sometimes bumpy terrain of parenting. And when things inevitably change, we need a new map, a whole bunch of maps, so that we can find our way with mindfulness, attunement, play, and self-care. Today, we are joined by Annette Harwood from Playgroup WA. Annette is a compassionate leader with deep expertise in early intervention and family support. She's committed to empowering parents as their children's first teachers and promoting resilience through connection, play, and social emotional development. Annette has a background in sociology and Indigenous studies, and she works alongside diverse communities, including First Nations and cold families, to ensure culturally safe, inclusive, and strength-based practices. Her leadership is grounded in trust, empathy, and collaboration, and she builds strong partnerships with government and community to drive positive outcomes for families and children. And I've had the great good fortune to work with Annette over quite a few years, so I can attest to all of that. I'm so pleased that you are here with us. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
So I'd love to start by asking if you are willing to share a bit about yourself and how you got to where you are now with Playgroup WA, and why you're passionate about these sort of pillars of the podcast: mindfulness, attunement, play, and self-care for parents. So
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, like you said, I'm now the CEO of Playgroup WA. I was CEO of Kwinana Early Years Services for over a decade, and really, really passionate about the work, working with families and children, and sort of supporting parents to build confidence and connect to their children so that their children could thrive. And I stepped away from that for a couple of years. I sort of stepped over to a ship, which was very interesting, and then
over to a ship.
So the Lewin. I was CEO at the Lewin for a little while, which was interesting. I learned a lot, and then went down into the southwest, and then came back for the job Playgroup WA, and like I sort of said before, it's like putting on a pair of comfy shoes. I just feel so passionately about helping and supporting families, especially in the early years, because I think that it can be such a magical time, but it can be completely overwhelming for parents as well. It's sort of you're a parent and you're having a baby and you're like, oh wow, it's so amazing, it's so incredible, and you have this little person and you're like, how do you do this and what does that actually look like? And I think that's what's really always driven me, is that importance of the connection. And that, the importance of, connecting with your child, but also connecting with your wider community and finding that support network, because I just don't believe that parenting is supposed to be something you do on your own. I think, it takes a village for sure. And I think that, as we move through the work that we do, we understand that these positive relationships and engaging with play with, the parent or caregiver, they really significantly impact children's development, and that really matters in the early years. So it's why I'm just so passionate about the work that we do. And I think that parents, there's so much sort of the expectations on parenting is quite high, but just to be able to be, you don't have to be perfect. We just need to show up. They're not asking, our children don't want us to be anything more than we are, and the presence and what we give. So I think that truly shapes their well-being and sets them up for a really strong future and foundation. So yeah, deeply committed to this work.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it really shines out of you. It's amazing. So I think you've kind of maybe touched on this already, but in terms of a map or a way forward or a set of ideas that you've found helpful for yourself or the parents that you've worked with over this time, what would you share that's worked really well?
I think that, when we hold parents and children in a place of love and compassion in the work that we do in the community services sector, which I think people do. I think you come to this work because you truly want to see change and you really want to see the next generation of children thrive and the children that we have now. And I think that comes, for the intervention and the earlier intervention. So, when we're looking at parenting from antenatal, really, what is it going to be like to be a parent? What are your expectations and the expectations of society, which can just feel so overwhelming, I think. I remember speaking to a mum at Keys, and we did a lot of work with peer support at Keys, and I think that sort of connection of someone just like me is really powerful. And she just didn't seem to think that she was doing anything right. She was completely lost, and she sort of felt that she was quite lost in it. She was just like, I don't really feel like myself. And and I think it was sort of reminding her that, there's no such thing as a perfect parent. Being a parent is about who you are and your authenticity in that. And your child doesn't have expectations of you, that it's the love and the care. And I think it's that, being gentle with yourself, or learning to just kind of pause, to meet our children where they are, not where we want or we feel that people expect us to be. And I think that in itself creates a real sense of calm and trust and understanding, and from there we laugh, and we can connect. And I think that being silly is really important. I think we become adults and we forget to be silly, and you look at the children, and our children can be really silly, and it's almost like imitating them. It's like being silly with them, and that's where the fun is, and that's kind of where the magic is. So I think the mat is really just being. How do we learn just to be, to show up as we are, and not have any more expectations on ourselves? Because, like I said, there's no such thing as a perfect parent. There's no book that comes with this. No two people are the same, and we are capable as we are. I think it's really important, because I think we do expect so much from ourselves.
We really do. And I think linking it into where you are now, I remember as a young parent, that playgroup was a really lovely space for me to go and get my cup filled as well, such that I was in a better place to be able to play with my kids. Whereas if I was just, going through the daily grind and feeling a bit disconnected from my community, and not feeling that sense of, I'm not the only one with a kid who has a tantrum, and I'm not the only one who's struggling here.
Very much so.
Exactly. Then it was like, oh, okay, there's nothing wrong with us. This is part of the deal. And now I can be a bit light with the next tantrum that comes along. So I also think it's a really lovely fit that someone with your experience and your passion is heading up this beautiful organisation that's had such a big impact for so many families and continues to.
And I think that so many people still connect with people they met at Playgroup. I know I had my children in the UK, but we had the National Childbirth Trust, which was, you paid a fee and you met with a group of people. And those people that I met when my children were young are friends that I still have now, because you connect on such a different level, because it is such a learning experience, and to be able to walk alongside somebody else in that journey. Because, like I said, it's never meant to be just on your own. And I think that Playgroup, it's not just about mothers going; it's about fathers connecting. It's about where you find your people. And we were having a chat this morning about dads, and I think mums are kind of a little bit more set up. They have the baby, and you're sort of born with this sort of connection, and not necessarily an understanding, but an expectation that you have a better understanding. And I look at dads, and I think it must be really frightening to be a dad and sort of, oh my goodness, look what I've got. Where did this come from? But then to go and connect with other dads to build those relationships, and they can be just as strong as the relationships we have when we have mothers groups or we go to playgroups as mothers. And I think that grows the confidence of dads as it grows the confidence of mums. And I think in that confidence becomes that capacity to believe in yourself, to I'm not just a mum. It's such an important job that we do. And I think that Playgroup is that space where people can go, they can connect, they can learn about different things in their community, they can learn play strategies, they can, really embed themselves in a community space. And I don't think that it can be taken. I think that when you talk about community, I think about Kwinana, when I worked in Kwinana for many, many years, and I loved it. And that sense of community, when you bring people from the same community together, they actually really understand where you are in your space, because it's their community as well. And I think that's really powerful for people. So playgroups are place-based. And so the people that you walk along the street and bump into are the people in your community, because you can often meet in playgroups. And so you're building that network, that social network, that professional network. And I think that's really important for parents to feel connected in that way too.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you brought in dads as well. and all the research is so clear about how powerfully important dads are, but also the earlier they have that active hands-on sort of day-to-day experience, the better the outcomes as well. So it's beautiful to hear that obviously that's really in your sights and it's really something that's a focus. Yeah, I think that's really important. So what about sort of a true north when parents are feeling a bit lost? So this podcast has got this idea of the map.
Yep.
And they need a map or a true north point. What's been one thing that's really worked for you to hold in your mind as being really important, and then from that, an actionable step for parents listening in?
I think that it's kind of, maybe shifting the way we think about things sometimes, that it is actually, it's the simplest things that often have the biggest impact for us. That it's the ability to actually connect in with our children. One small step each day, pause, breathe, what does my child need from me right now? Not tomorrow, not for the rest of their lives, but, what can I do right now that can connect us, that can bring us together? And I think that's often it's that child-led play almost, if it's blocks, if it's playing in the mud, if it's, just reading the same book 10 times, it's coming together for just the presence and the warmth of you with your child. And I think that can fix so many things. I think when we get overwhelmed, and if we just stop looking at the big picture and we look at the now, right now, what is it right now that would actually make me feel connected to you, that would make me feel less anxious? And I think sometimes that is just sitting in a space with your child doing something, letting them just talk to you or, climb all over you or whatever it might be. It's that connection and that contact. And, and then if that feels too hard, just reach out, because I don't think we should be doing this alone. Find a play group or find a mother's group, or, talk to your neighbour. I think that it starts with us, and I think it starts with the way we look at ourselves and reducing the expectation we have on ourselves. I think that's really important for parents, that, it's just about the now. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will fix itself. We'll get there tomorrow. Let's just do what we need to do now, to find our space, to find a place to breathe. And because we're enough. We're human beings, we have emotions, we have needs, but if we just stop and breathe, it's amazing what it can do for ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. That really resonates with my experience. And I found as a younger mum with 2 busy boys, that even trying to stop my busy brain, knowing what you said about just stopping, I'd try and stop, my brain would still be going.
Mine too. Absolutely.
I know. And someone said to me that they found it really helpful to just actually really look at their child. And I found that a really good way in. It's like, look at their beautiful eyelashes. My goodness.
That's it. Yeah. But we forget those things, don't we? We get so caught up in our busy and our our lives and what we feel we should be doing, and we should be cleaning the house should be clean, it should be perfect, it should be this. We get so caught up in our expectations of ourselves, outside expectations as well, but they become internalized sometimes. I think I look at my daughter. I've got 3 beautiful grandchildren. I've got 3 children and 3 beautiful grandchildren, and my youngest grandchild is a little girl called Gracie, and she's 9 weeks old. And I look at Lou, who's my daughter, and I look at with the 2 boys. She's got 2 boys that just never stop. So you know what that feels like. And then Gracie's just so placid and so quiet, and she just sort of lays there, and you can just be absorbed by her. And I just love that sort of that. As she got to the 3rd child, she's a bit like, oh yeah, the first one we're all like, oh my goodness, are we doing this right? And it's quite comforting to know that everybody feels the same way. Everybody gets overwhelmed with this. Everybody is like, am I doing this right? Is this supposed to happen? Are they supposed to be doing that? And I'm very lucky. I'm very close to her, and so I'm like, that's fine, that's normal, that's okay. But yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it, how we just come to this space of the smallest little thing that you can connect with. It makes such a difference with your children and yourself.
It really does. Just as you say, we've only got now. And just hearing that beautiful story about your daughter and her children as well. I'm thinking what a gift that she's got someone in her life who can be that steady support and sort of say, yeah, that's normal or that's not. So again, going back to playgroup, I think, or mothers groups or groups where you can check in and just get that validation that, yep, it's okay, you're doing great. It's and when things are maybe, because it's not always easy and things don't always go to plan, again, playgroups can be a great funnel for other information as well, so you can get some support. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of richness in there.
I think that, like, I think there's a lot we can do to support parents to, if we're looking at, legislation, policy, and all that kind of thing. But if you're looking at parental leave, extending parental leave so that their parents have the opportunity to attend things like playgroups, to connect to their community before they have to go to work. I mean, we know that it's tougher than it's ever been for families out there, and people have to work. But to be able to have those benefits of being paid to be at home with your child for a little bit longer, to do that connection, to build those relationships so that you have that support network around you, I think is critically important. So I think that there's a different level to it, isn't there? That we can reach out and as parents and we can try and build ours, but we have to be also provided the support and the capacity to be able to do that in a positive way. So I definitely think that's an advocacy sort of thing that we definitely look at in Playgroup WA. What is it that we can advocate so parents are able to have that opportunity to spend more time at home with their children, to bond and connect and to build those really, really important relationships in our community.
Beautiful. And the return on investment in terms of that structural support is huge, isn't it? Because if we get those relationships close and connected early, the outcomes long term are incredibly positive. So again, all that passion in that space is really exciting. And I'm,
me, I'm like, woohoo, big picture. But I worked at Keys for many years, and we worked very closely with families that, that sort of didn't have the same opportunities as other families, and there was a lot of trauma involved in that work, and there was a lot of supporting people to overcome diversity and adversity. And I think that what it shows is that as individual people, we are very strong, and people always want to do the right thing. I think genuinely, most of the time, parents just need additional support to travel the journey, to be able to provide what they need for their child and for themselves. And I think as a society, we sometimes forget that it's not always an easy path for people. Families are not as extended as they used to be. People are a lot more isolated than they were. The nuclear family is often that they move away from their extended family, and so that social isolation can be a real thing. And with that, that comes lack of confidence. It actually starts to sort of wear on people. So all of these little things that we do build confidence in parenting. They build capacity in parenting. And I've seen so many times at Keys, we did a lot of peer work with the EPEC program, and people that would come and say, I can't do that, and then they would sort of do EPEC, do the being a parent course. They come out the other side and go, oh my God, of course I can do that. So it just takes that little bit of faith sometimes, doesn't it? That sort of a little bit of someone to say, come on, you can do that, or I can be with you, or I can walk alongside you, I can hold your hand doing that. Just to get people to sort of go, yeah, actually it is something that I can do. I just need to, be myself and allow that to happen. With no judgment.
Thank you so much, Annette. I wonder if parents listening in can find out more about Playgroup WA or about you. Where can they go to?
So on the Playgroup WA website, so it's playgroupwa.com.au. Playgroup WA is also on social media. We have development offices. We actually have on the website places that you can find playgroups near you or develop them, with spaces for connection, the emotional support, child development on our website as well. You can just reach out to us. We've got an amazing team of girls downstairs. It's hotline at playgroupwa.com.au if they wanted to reach out through there as well. And I'm really pleased that I spoke to you today, so I was a bit like, oh my goodness, what have I got to say? People want to listen to on a podcast. But it's really lovely chatting with you. It's been really lovely.
Thank you. And again, I just want to say thank you for all the work you do and all the beautiful efforts you've put in over many years to support families right across Western Australia, really, and on we go. So
on we go, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let this adventure continue.
Yay. This podcast is produced by Meerilinga, thanks to funding from Healthway. I'm Belynda Smith, Manager of Parenting Services at Meerilinga. If you'd like to know more, you can visit our website, www.meerilinga.org.au, or if you'd like to get in touch, send us an email, parenting@meerilinga.org.au, or visit us on socials.